With its integrated grip and kickstand, the Lenovo Yoga Smart Tab offers an innovative design that we don't see like this from other companies. At the same time, it features a pretty display, good speakers, and thanks to the Google Assistent Ambient Mode, you can use it as a smart display. It is a perfect tablet for many, however it does have some downsides. I'm NJ for mynexttablet.com, and in this review you will learn all the important details. A couple of words about pricing. First, in Europe, the version with 3GB of RAM and a 32GB storage costs €249. For 4GB of RAM and a 64GB storage, you've got to pay €299. Right now it's not available elsewhere, but once it is, prices should be very similar in US dollars. The biggest highlight of the Lenovo Yoga Smart Tab is its design. It is a 10-inch tablet that has a round grip built into its body. With that one, you can hold it comfortably while surfing the web or reading books on your sofa. Built into the grip is a kickstand with which you can place the tablet onto a table in several angles. You can even hang it somewhere in your kitchen or bathroom or so, because the kickstand has a hole for exactly this purpose. Lenovo has released several tablets with this design in the past. One was running Windows, another one had an integrated projector, and some were affordable. So the design is not new, but it continues to be innovative and one of a kind. While I like the design a lot, it also means that it is not super thin or light. It weighs 580 grams and is between 8.5 and 24mm thick, that depends on where you measure it. The kickstand and grip are metal, but most of the body is made of plastic. Yes, that's not ideal, but I think it's okay in this price range. It is charged using a USB-C port on the right side. I like that we get the standard headphone jack on the left side too, because those are getting less and less common. That's where the power button and volume rockers are located too. You can insert a microSD card into a slot that sits below the kickstand. The Yoga Smart Tab has two separate stereo speakers that sit on the left and right side. Unlike with some of its competitors, they are far enough from each other so that you can hear a real stereo separation. For a tablet, the speakers are quite big, and the sound quality is very good. Especially when Dolby Atmos is turned on, I noticed a surprisingly strong bass. With that activated, it sounds better than the Apple iPad 7 does, which costs a bit more. Its main camera on the back offers a resolution of 8 megapixels and videos and photos look fine. Not perfect of course, but certainly good enough. The 5 megapixel front camera disappointed me a bit though. Selfies are okay, but it can only record 720p videos, and Lenovo sharpens them so much that it doesn't look good anymore. Using the webcam, you can use facial recognition to unlock the tablet. That works well most of the time as long as the lighting is good. Not always, but most of the time. However, since there's no additional sensor, I'm guessing that it is not as secure as Apple's Face ID or Microsoft's facial recognition is. The Lenovo Yoga Smart Tab has a 10.1-inch screen with an aspect ratio of 16:10. It has a full HD resolution with 1920 by 1200 pixels, and it is a laminated IPS display. So the viewing angles are wide and there's no air gap below the touchscreen. That's great. I think a full HD resolution is high enough on 10 inches, text looks sharp enough, and in this case, contrast and color reproduction are good too. Its brightness is alright. I used it in a room that's surrounded by bright windows and I could still see everything just fine. But you should know that, as is the case with many tablets, it transforms itself into a mirror in direct sunlight. Overall, I like the display, but with that being said, I noticed one problem with Netflix. On my unit, I'm not able to watch Netflix in HD, and that might be the case for everybody. To watch Netflix with HD resolution or higher, certain DRM standards must be supported, and then the tablet gets a so-called white wine level of L1. Okay, now it gets a bit complicated. The Lenovo Yoga Smart Tab does have a white wine level of L1, but with my unit, Netflix thinks it has a level of L3, so I cannot watch movies in HD. I guess the tablet got the L1 level with an update. However, Netflix checks that only once when the app is started for the first time. I've had this problem several times with other tablets. Usually you just have to reinstall Netflix for it to work, but in this case Netflix is pre-installed and Lenovo does not allow you to remove it. So it's not possible to uninstall and reinstall it. A complete factory reset did not help either. Netflix is still thinking that it has an L3 level. Well, that's quite a bummer. Netflix runs of course, but not in HD. Please keep an eye on the comments and see what others are saying. Maybe Lenovo will fix it, or maybe it works with new ones already. I will keep an eye on it for a while. If you have this tablet, please write us in the comments. Can you watch Netflix in HD on your Yoga Smart Tab? Lenovo is advertising the Yoga Smart Tab as a smart tablet, so they want to compete with the Google Home or Amazon Echo device. For this, the Google Assistant is pre-installed. Well, it works with pretty much every tablet of course, but in this case they're advertising the Ambient Mode in particular. Once you activate it, you can use this tablet as a smart display. On the hardware front, the Google Assistant is supported by 3 microphones that can recognize the OK Google command from the distance all around the tablet. That works well. It recognizes my voice even when I'm standing at the other end of a large room. You're probably familiar with the Google Assistant already. It works like Amazon's Alexa or Apple's Siri. Using voice commands you can get information about the weather, hear what's on your calendar, or start a timer. The display is used to show further information regarding what you're looking for, and it gets even more useful if you're using smart home devices that are compatible with Google. I don't though. Well, once you turn on the Google Assistant Ambient Mode, the display is turned on the whole time and you can see some information on the screen. Again, it's only useful if you use the services from Google and or are using smart home devices. In the settings, you can configure the ambient mode to be turned on automatically when you charge the tablet or when it is just in standby. But remember that the battery will be empty much faster if you do that. Let's get to the rest of its software. Out of the box, the Lenovo Yoga Smart Tab is running Android 9 Pie. I don't know if it will ever get an update to Android 10. In the past, Lenovo sometimes did release updates for their tablets and sometimes they didn't. Samsung is usually rolling out 2 big updates for most of their tablets, but sadly with the Lenovo, the update history is not as stable. In the past, I always liked a lot that Lenovo used pretty much vanilla Android. However, that is changing a bit now. At first glance, it still looks like normal Android 9 Pie. However, there are some additional features and some are totally useless. With that I mostly mean the so-called Lenovo Entertainment Center. There's a button that's always visible on the home screen, and if you swipe it to the right, you get to the Lenovo Entertainment Center. I'm not sure why that's there because it's basically just YouTube with a bit different UI and you can log in with a Lenovo ID. I really don't know why that's there. It seems to be a complete waste of resources. The normal YouTube app is pre-installed of course and works much better. Another new feature is the Display Assistant. You can access it by swiping from the right. With the Display Assistant you can activate a blue light filter, change the color mode, take screenshots and record the screen. You can also use it to annotate the screen or draw on it. For some this feature might be useful. For some the productivity mode might be useful too. Lenovo has been including that one in a couple of tablets in the past. It's kind of a desktop mode, but it's not as complex as the ones from Samsung or Huawei. Once you turn it on, you get a taskbar at the bottom. Those 3 Android buttons get relocated to the left side, and on the right side you can see icons of currently opened apps. Yes, that kind of looks like Windows or other desktop operating systems. I think the productivity mode can be useful if you're using it with a real mouse, but otherwise you probably won't use it. Lenovo pre-installed a Kids mode too. Since I don't have kids, it's always hard for me to evaluate how useful they really are, but it seems to be fine for very young kids. I'm sure a bit older ones will be fine with normal Android. Let's check out the internal hardware. The Lenovo Yoga Smart Tab is shipped with a Qualcomm Snapdragon 439 octa-core processor. You can choose between 3GB of RAM and 32GB of storage, or 4GB of RAM and a 64GB storage. LTE is an option as well. I've got the one with 4GB of RAM and 64GB storage. Out of those, 10.77GB are used by the system. My benchmark comparison shows that while the performance of the Yoga Smart Tab is fine, it's certainly not its strongest feature. In Antutu and Geekbench it is faster than the 1-year-old Lenovo Tab P10. However, especially its graphics performance is much weaker than the cheaper Samsung Galaxy Tab A 10.1 2019. I would get that one if you're looking for an affordable gaming tablet. So I can't recommend the Yoga Smart Tab as a gaming tablet. Games like PUBG Mobile do run, but with the lowest graphics only. Simple games work great of course, and the ones that have a great soundtrack sound great with these speakers. On the positive side, I like that we're getting 3 to 4 GB of RAM. Because of that, apps are not closed that fast in the background, as is the case with some tablets that have less RAM. I also noticed that the multitasking performance is pretty good. You can open and use 2 apps at the same time without any issues. In my battery test, the Lenovo Yoga Smart Tab got a runtime of 16 hours. For this, I'm always looping an HD video at medium brightness. You can see in my comparison that 16 hours are very good, especially for a 10-inch device of this price range. Regarding this, Lenovo's Yoga tablets have always been very good. Let's get to the end of my Lenovo Yoga Smart Tab review. Can I recommend this tablet? That depends on what you're looking for. If you're mainly looking for a gaming tablet and a good ratio of value and performance, this is not the one for you. It's too pricey for that. The Yoga Smart Tab gets super interesting though if you like the design with its integrated grip and kickstand. Because of that, it is a great tablet to use in the living room or even in the kitchen. It's great if you want to use the Google Assistant or are looking for an entertainment tablet. For that, I think it's almost perfect thanks to its good speakers and long battery life. While reviewing it, I watched tons of YouTube with it and it's really great for that. It's good for Amazon Prime Video and Netflix too of course, but again you can't watch Netflix in HD right now. Let's check out some alternatives. A cheaper alternative is the Samsung Galaxy Tab A 10.1 2019. It's cheaper and has a better graphics performance, so it's better suited for gamers. Samsung will probably push out updates longer too. The display is very similar, but the Samsung one has weaker speakers and shorter battery life. You should also check out the Apple iPad 7. While it is a bit pricier, its performance is much better. The speakers are not as strong, but instead you get excellent multitasking with iPadOS, and it offers a much larger selection of tablet-optimized apps. If you want, you can also get it with a stylus and keyboard. However, with those accessories, it's much pricier. Alright, that's the end of my Lenovo Yoga Smart Tab review. If you have any questions, please feel free to write me down in the comments and check out mynexttablet.com. There you will find all of my tablet reviews and all of my current recommendations. Thanks for watching and see you next time.